okay? Sometimes even conflicting one another, coming from you. I don't understand why can't you have a complete moratorium and post it for us so that we can get the full benefit of what it is you're proposing. That's why I objected to you. I objected to you because you were about ready to pass a moratorium proposal, and I heard it being said, okay? And my objection was, how can you pass something that we haven't even had the privilege of seeing in full? That's why I'm upset. That's one. The second thing is, the bits and pieces that I saw is not a full moratorium. A moratorium is a pause, not a half pause. It is a complete pause. I don't want to see in a moratorium you making exceptions to do infrastructures for these people and for them to have an office space in the property that they're going to be supposedly having a moratorium.
Sorry? Yeah.
That tells me there's already been a pre-organized thing before this even moratorium has begun to put in place data centers that you're claiming you don't know anything about. Is it just me? Am I going insane here? You guys don't have it together, and that's why people are angry. And we're also angry because you have all the shenanigans going on so that we can't come to your meetings. And I'm going to say publicly, don't believe a thing they say. You know when these meetings are supposed to take place? Be here. And I will say one more thing. We're going to address now Bill 484. And I'm gonna address it until the cows come home. I'm gonna say something. That bill that I read says that it's giving permission for all these data centers to have no more than 50 megawatts. Okay? It does not say, listen closely, it does not say how many data centers we're allowed to have in Lakeland, in Polk County, or anywhere else. Okay? Neither does it say how many times these 50 megawatts are able to be given to each and every one of those. We have well waters that are going dry right now. Okay? We have well waters going dry right now. Okay? And you're talking about wanting to put data centers in here with all the everything, giving them everything, full-fledged, everything. Even 20 years, even 10 and 20 years tax incentives. Okay? That is ridiculous. That is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. I think this board right here ought to start concentrating on all the messes that are going on in this city and stop adding more to it. And that's all I got to say.
Good morning. My name is Sarah Talamucci with Florida Citizens Alliance. I am also a 27-year resident of Lakeland. I appreciate the Commission's initiative to consider this moratorium. I appreciate the questions I've heard you ask today, as well as the humility in acknowledging you are not SMEs on the nuances of this project, and I'm hopeful you'll use the time wisely to thoroughly research, conduct appropriate studies, listen to your constituents, and shore up any loopholes that could allow hyperscale data centers in Lakeland. While hyperscale data centers may seem like a necessary response to growing demands, technology evolves rapidly. The more advanced technology becomes, the smaller and more efficient it gets. These massive facilities could one day soon become obsolete, leaving behind enormous industrial structures where beautiful Florida landscape once stood. This issue is emotionally charged, but decisions of this magnitude should not be based on emotions. They should be based on facts. The fact is that Florida is simply not a suitable environment for hyperscale data centers. Our climate works against them. Florida is the lightning capital of the nation, and Polk County has the highest lightning density in the state. A lightning strike can cause catastrophic power failures and ignite fires, placing additional demands on our firefighters. Hurricanes, severe thunderstorms, flooding, and wind-related power outages. These facilities operate 24/7, 365. When outages occur, whose power gets restored first? The hyperscale data center or Lakeland residents? Data centers operate efficiently with humidity between 40 and 60%. Lakeland's humidity is 75 to 78% year-round. This will force the cooling systems to work significantly harder, consuming even more electricity. Beyond our climate, we simply do not have the natural resources to support facilities of this scale. As said, hyperscale centers consume up to 5 million gallons of water a day, roughly the water needs of 50,000 people. We have burn bans, water restrictions. Our aquifer is already under tremendous strain as development continues. We should not add another enormous demand on an already limited resource. Proposed hyperscale data centers nearby require as much as 1.4 gigawatts of electricity, enough to power 1 million homes, 7 to 8 times Lakeland Electric's current 137,000 customer capacity. There are also significant quality of life concerns. These centers generate constant noise. Prolonged exposure to noise above 65 decibels increases stress and blood pressure. Sound above 85 decibels damage hearing. These centers reach 105 decibels constantly, as loud as a jet flying over. Residents near these facilities report headaches, vertigo, nausea, ear pain, sleep disruptions, hypertension, 24/7, 365. A single hyperscale campus can create more nighttime sky glow than an entire small town. And unlike a small town, those lights operate at full intensity every night of the year. Please implement a moratorium and use it wisely. Put Lakeland first. We should not sacrifice our natural resources, our quality of life, and our community to serve a global industry that can build somewhere else better suited for it. Thank you.
I need a speaker card for him.
I have one.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
I don't have it.
We'll get it to
I'll
you.
do another one.
Thank you so much.
I live in Lakeland. This is my community.
I'm sorry, what's your name?
I don't trust you. I'm not going to give out the name. I live in Lakeland. This is my community. I have spoken to other people who also live here. Some of them could not come to the meeting because they're elderly and disabled. They are also concerned and upset about this data center. If data centers are so good for our community, why did this happen behind closed doors? Why wasn't the public included from the beginning? Why did the people actually live here feel like we have no voice? What about our water? What happens when our water pressure drops and our water quality is affected? What about our electricity bill? Many families already have monthly bills increased. What about our home, our property, or what the value for our property? If you want to sell your home today, who would want to live here with a massive data center? What about the wildlife? Once destroyed, there will be no animal. Where are they supposed to go? What about our health? Breathing issues or quality of life? There are people who live near the data center People are saying there's nonstop noise 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They talk about bright lights shining into their homes. That they don't even need a nightlight in their house. Families deserve peace in our home. We keep hearing about jobs and construction jobs that last for a couple of months. After the project is complete, only 5 permanent jobs remain. 2 Indians, 2 Chinese, and 1 somebody from Nigeria. I'm sorry, I'm nervous. This is worth changing our community forever. I believe in God. He sees everything. Nothing is hidden from him. Every decision made has consequences. One day we will all have to answer for how we treated the people. We entrust you. God calls us to love our neighbors. Take away their peace, their homes, their quality of life. I ask you to lead with honesty, fairness, respect for the family who already live here. Please do not ignore us. We are the people. We are your community. I did not vote for you to ignore our voices. I'm sorry. I did not vote for you to ignore our voices of the people. Please put the people of Lakeland before your interest in this data center. Once our community is changed, we cannot undo. Do the right thing. Remember, God's watching.
Hello, good morning. My name is Ashton Sherritt at 319 Element Drive, 330 by Southgate. I'm a lifelong Lakelander with generations of Lakeland family before me. I've started a petition for a moratorium that's actually for all of Polk County after the Fort Meade situation, but it really took off after the news here. It has over 1,500 signatures already, and public sentiment continues to grow. I feel encouraged that you're open to workshops and research. I'll address a few popular talking points that I've heard recently. One point I hear is that these data centers have always been around, and every time we use our credit cards, use a data center, etc. What we're talking about are these AI data centers, the ones being proposed, and we don't even know who will operate and own them, the ones using multiple gigawatts more electricity than entire cities, the ones draining and polluting water sources at scale, even with closed-loop systems. I would encourage you to zero in the moratorium on these new AI data centers. As you've heard, it doesn't take heavy lifting research to find the detrimental impacts that these centers have on communities. Another talking point I hear a lot is about making sure that we take into account the concerns of both the city population and the developers. While I usually commend your
It's okay, he's deaf. He's deaf.
Respectfully, it makes no sense here. What concerns of the developers are we supposed to be listening to? Their interest in their IPO, their profits, their contracts? Public concern far outweighs developer concern here. Another point,
It's okay.
SB 484 guidance.
All being human.
484 guidance doesn't make us feel any better. It sort of addressed upfront utility costs, but not only does the final version of that bill not include the 5-mile rule, which bans centers within 5 miles of schools, neighborhoods, etc., it also still allows companies to require commissioners to sign NDAs. This lack of transparency is not lost on us, and making these developers jump through a few more hoops as a formality to end up getting the same things feels disingenuous. Another point that I hear is, what does a moratorium do differently than our normal rigorous process? And the reason that we're calling for a moratorium is that these things are popping up all over the country and all over Florida. Is the approval process in Lakeland, Florida really that much more rigorous than any of these other locations in the country? We've heard you all say that there is backlash, you can hear it, but until we hear our city commissions talk more about the detrimental impacts of these centers, and why there's backlash, we don't feel comfortable not asking for a moratorium. And the last popular point I hear is something along the lines of, well, this is just the new industrial revolution. It's like the building of highways, and anyone against it is just a technical. To which I'd argue, if highways being built gave everyone in the vicinity cancer, or melted our cars when they got too hot, maybe we would halt the construction of those highways and send the developers back to innovate something more sustainable. And who are these metaphorical highways for anyway? We don't even know who will ultimately own these centers being proposed. What are these centers actually doing? That's a whole other speech. But we will not sacrifice our communities for this speculative bubble, IPO chasing strangle of these third-party tech companies. The job numbers and ROI aren't there. The ethics behind what these data centers are even for is also not there. Given that we can look around and see both the harm that's already happening with these new centers and the subsequent pushback, to even entertain proposals here is deeply unsettling. So that's why we're pushing for a moratorium. I hope that you will join the many cities across Florida and the country who are setting the example to stand with their communities. Passing a moratorium signals that. We are relying on you, and we want to trust you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Tyler Lowmiller. I'm with Ryan Companies, the developer of the Project Swan. My address is 3201 Empedrado Street, Tampa, Florida. So I just want to say thank you for allowing us to speak. Thank you for all the comments. I just am here to just make sure that, there's some, just the details of our project. There's a lot of what ifs right now, misinformation. So I wanted to kind of share our vision of the project with the commissioners. We just started this process. We submitted our plan to the commissioners for the review. So really we're looking at, it's not an AI data center. What we're looking at is a cloud data storage edge facility. So if it was fully built out, about 500,000 square feet, which would be roughly 100 megawatts of power, if there was enough power from Lakeland Electric, and we would, as a developer, as a user, would help develop that pay to play, basically. That's what the industry is currently for data centers. We're not looking for handouts, we're not looking for really anything. We're here to play, we're here to partner with the city of Lakeland. But yeah, 100 megawatts, understandably, that's not what's going to give it to us or be, supplied right away. And we understand it takes a while for data centers to get built out. But we're understanding, and in terms of water, we're not looking to utilize any water for cooling. So we only want to utilize the water for toilets, sinks, and whatnot for the employees. Now, if we did want to use water, or if we felt like that could be an option, there's a wastewater treatment plant next door. And we'd be willing to partner with the city of Lakeland Utilities, to maybe help expand that. We haven't had any really discussions with them to do that, but that's an option. It would come funding from our center. Trying to look at anything else. But I just wanted to clarify power usage, water usage, what we're looking at, and just timing of we just started this process for everybody, and understand, we want to be a partner with the city of Lakeland, and we'll help you through this process. So we'd love to be a team player and be part of that, discussions of what looks like a great data center for the community, limit the overall impact, and make the benefits, maximize the benefits for the city of Lakeland. Thank you.
There you go. People have spoken.
Let's manage our decorum, please. Sorry. Could you lower the microphone, please? Thank you.
I'm Jennifer Hartman, I live on Red Circle. Okay. So I have a few points to speak about, that many people don't speak about when they speak about data center. I strongly support the 12-month moratorium because the decisions that you guys make deserve careful planning. If you owe the residents of Lakeland, responsible governance. Thank you for allowing this conversation, for us to have this conversation. Like I said, I have a lot of speaking points that are in the future. They're not like so recent, like issues that are going to affect the data center as they're being built, like resource consumption and things like this. I'm just going to run through what I have. So, technology, obsolescence, and long-term risk. Technology is changing so quickly that data centers are being built for today's artificial intelligence hardware may become outdated within a few years. These facilities are being proposed, I'm sorry, I don't have my reading glasses, are being proposed across the country because they house high-value computing equipment, but the equipment itself has a short and accelerating life cycle. As demand for the data center facilities increases, demand for the specialized computer equipment also increases. That can lead to production delays, meaning hardware may already be outdated by the time it's purchased, delivered, and installed. Server life cycles that once lasted 6 or 7 years may now only last 18 to 36 months. Each new generation of equipment can require different levels of power, cooling, and infrastructure. If the building cannot adapt, Lakeland could be left with a large concrete footprint that is difficult to reuse for housing, retail, or community serving development. If a server life cycle is down to 18 months, we aren't building a permanent economic engine. We are risking a massive concrete ghost town. In a few short years, we demand an adaptability plan before you pour 1 ounce of concrete. Okay, financial risk and public cost. Data center projects are often presented as major sources of public revenue. We cannot get dollar signs in our eyes before the full public cost is calculated. If this equipment depreciates or gets replaced every 2 years, it may not remain in the building long enough to reach its full unexempted taxable value, and thus the promised tax benefit is mirage, basically a lie. For that reason, Lakeland should be cautious about. I'm so sorry, I can't. I'm reading about it. For this reason, Lakeland should be cautious about treating tax revenue projections as guaranteed public benefit. Examples from other states. Other states are already reconsidering the financial impact of data center incentives. Georgia has debated eliminating data center tax exemptions because of concerns about their impact on the state budget. Ohio lawmakers paused certain tax incentives after audits raised concerns that projected costs could grow into the billions. Polk County recently approved a 10-year tax exemption for a Fort Meade development, showing how large these incentives could be, $140 million. Okay, so resource strain, power, water, noise, and air quality. Data centers can place significant pressure on local utilities and neighborhoods. Lakeland should evaluate not only the direct demand for power and water, but also the secondary effects on residents, including air quality, noise, and grid reliability. In Oregon, reports have linked large share of municipal water consumption to Google data centers, cloud. data centers. During heat waves in Northern Virginia, grid strain has led some data centers to rely on diesel backup generators, which were near residential homes. And in Arizona, concerned about water supply.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Can you please give me your name?
Jennifer Hardman.
Thank you, Jennifer.
I'll come with my glasses.
That's okay. I know the name.
Hello, my name is Christy Pullman, a long-time Lakeland resident. I'm here, everybody talks about, I'm pretty sure about the electric and the water, but mine is about the health issues. Like I said in my last one, I'm dealing with a lot of health issues right now, and I've been scared because I've been reading all the research that's been done on the other data centers in like other cities and other states that is negatively affecting people health-wise. Right now, I'm in the early stages of heart disease, which is affecting my heart and my lungs. And I know for sure that the data centers, diesel engines that they use will definitely affect me, where I will probably be going on probably a ventilator or something, where I'll have to need oxygen because I won't have it in the atmosphere because of all the diesel that these generators for these data center will be expelling into the atmosphere, because I only live 10 minutes away from this proposed site. So it'll greatly affect me with my breathing, with my heart. I get migraines 4 or 5 times a month, so the constant humming that these things give off, they give off a long distance. It will intensify my migraines to where it will probably debilitate me some days. And right now, as you can see, I'm having a bad arthritis day in my knees. So I'm dealing with a lot of health issues, and I just want y'all to do the research on how this will impact people, not just myself, but other people that have a lot of health issues that may or may not be seen. All right, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Good morning, my name is Brittany Singletary. I am here to speak about the responsibilities the city has to protect its residents before damage is done, not after. I see the exact same pattern of lack of transparency happening right now on a massive citywide scale with the proposed hyperscale data center. The infrastructure is already failing, as evidenced by the recent spillage of 85,000 gallons of sewage. 5,000 gallons soaked into the ground, and another 5,000 flowed directly into our storm drains. The ongoing issues with the Plum Valley Colony and the flooding across Lakeland highlight just how overwhelmed the local infrastructure and natural waterways currently are. Paving over dozens of acres removes natural soil that would otherwise absorb rainfall. Adding more industrial runoff could easily worsen flooding for nearby residential properties and roadways, because Lakeland's downstream rivers and lakes are already pushed beyond capacity. When critical infrastructure is placed on top of the limestone sitting above the Florida aquifer, it can cause unstable, shifting foundation, roads, pipes, and buildings to become highly susceptible to sudden ground settlement and sinkhole activity, an environmental disaster. Just as I have had to fight for the structural integrity of my own home, I am here fighting for the structural integrity of our land and aquifer. We cannot rely on developer funded promises. Taking a pause to gather tax doesn't help us when the developers are the ones funding and conducting their own studies. If the people who stand and make millions off this project are the ones submitting the data, it isn't independent research. It's a sales pitch. We also cannot allow developers to hide behind multiple LLCs to quietly drain our resources. This strategy is dangerous because it prevents the community from knowing who is actually accountable for future damages. Furthermore, we must address the glaring loophole that allows developers to circumvent the 50 megawatt regulation by simply splitting projects into tiered applications, effectively allowing multiple data centers to bypass oversight while cumulatively placing the same, if not greater, strain on our already failing power and water infrastructure. I am asking this commission to shift from passive observation to proactive governance. The safest, most responsible choice to protect our water, our land, and our neighborhoods is to move toward a permanent ban, not a temporary pause. Thank you.
My name is Jackson Samples. I've been here multiple times before. I plan on staying here as long as it takes to get rid of this data center. So I don't know if
Sir,
most
if
of
you
you
could
know.
just address us instead of the cameras on you.
Oh, I thought it was my turn.
It is your turn. Yeah, I just said it's capturing it. It's
All right, well, pretend I'm looking at y'all. So I don't know if y'all know this, but a moratorium is only going to create a 12-month or longer process between this side of the room and the developer to exploit all loopholes, go through zoning, redistricting, XYZ. So instead of passing a moratorium for them to be even more informed, even more armed, even more wealthier in their pockets to screw us, we should ask for a ban on these hyperscale, if that's even what they're called, data centers. So obviously, we all heard a few people come up. We got a developer out here. We have a lot of people smarter than me, I'm not gonna lie. We found out, yes, there is an NDA on this side of the board and with the developer that we were told doesn't happen behind closed doors. So that was obviously a lie. Before we were talking about the data center this morning, we were talking about the police and their increasing budget and surveillance techniques and all that. And he was skipping over the fact that that data has to be stored somewhere. Guess where? A data center. Imagine that. So these data centers are not just for data, they're for surveillance, for us to be watched all the time. I'm just like y'all, I drive through Lakeland and I lose count how many flop cameras are pointed right at us. The other day in our neighborhood, which is right next to the power plant, which we lose power constantly, houses catch on fire through the panel boards, the power plant was on fire the other day, so there's obviously something going on at a current rate of however many citizens we have. So obviously, if we had a data center, 50 megawatts stacked like this, so there's really 20 of them that are 50 megawatts, which is a gigawatt, obviously we can't handle that load on a turn for that. But we know that this isn't just for resources and all that. This is to be spied on. This is to be controlled by a third party that has more money than we have time, resource, and power to fight against. So if we pass this moratorium, we are working against ourselves. So I urge everybody to go home, do a little bit more research on this topic, read 484, definitely listen to Olivia. She knows a lot about what she's talking about. But that's what I'm urging you guys to do. Because obviously you can't get the facts from everybody up there. I'd say there's one or two up there that you might be able to trust and who are working for us, especially today if you were paying attention. The one asking a lot of good questions for our behalf. I think that's a good person to look towards. But I just want to say this is kind of despicable. We've lived here all of our lives. We're fighting against the corruption. And it seems like the corruption is in suit and ties, not in gangsters and criminals that run around our city. Because if you actually look at the statistics, Lakeland gets safer year over year over year, just like the rest of America. So why are we upscaling police equipment? Why are we upscaling surveillance equipment when we know it's not to stop crime, to protect us? It is to enforce and watch over us. But that's all I really have to say today. I'll see y'all July 20th, and now August, whatever the damn date is, because it keeps changing. We can't trust these people. Am I right?
Yeah.
Hello, I'm Magdalene Dupree. I live in Lakeland, 32801. It's very hard for me to be here today. I was beat up 2 weeks ago by Polk County Sheriff's deputies for the homeless ministry I told you guys about last time I was here. So if I start crying, it's not y'all make me cry, okay? As you know, I'm always talking about data centers in the press and everywhere. My background actually wasn't in biology or ecology. It was in political science, political economy. And I sent you guys a really long email about things to consider about policymaking because the purpose of the moratorium is to craft policy so that after the moratorium, we know moratorium is always going to be temporary, that we can control how something enters our city, how something becomes a part of our community. Besides the environmental effects, what we're looking at could change in the future. The way these are being designed can change. What your job needs to be is develop how is revenue going to be generated? What a lot of people don't realize is that this is a facility that is meant to rent capacity to other customers. So for any type of revenue to be generated, it has to come from that owner of the center having tenants. And as of right now, I don't know what they told you, if they even have a tenant, or if they hope to get a tenant within 5 years. So there's a possibility these things don't generate the amount of revenue they estimated to you. There are multiple data centers throughout the country of a large size that are, like you said, that unregulated term of hyperscale, but of a large size that are struggling to get a tenant. It's also a speculative industry as well. I know some other people mentioned seeing a speculative industry as inherently corrupt. On one hand, that is true, but if we're going to be realistic, because it is speculative, that means people are going to be rushing to build as many as possible, and the market could become oversaturated, which means the revenue that you're getting estimates for might not result because there'll be so many other centers also offering capacity, and the investors can cash out. We'll be left with a product that may or may not generate what they're telling us. The other thing is, my gosh, so sorry. Okay, the other thing is, he was talking about pay to play. Okay, you can control what they pay for. You can control how much you want them to contribute to a housing assistance fund, to a victim fund, to an affordable housing fund. There is a lot of research about what the construction, like this business, what this industry is predicted to do to affect cities. You can create things. Imagine 50 years from now, maybe we do find out there are definitive health effects, like a Lejeune incident. You can control now what types of funding get vested for the future. And I also urge you to not extend tax incentives. The developer, the investors, the hypothetical tenants that they don't even have yet, they have a lot to gain from coming here. These industries, there's a whole push in the engineering consulting world to push data center construction into small cities with the intention of selling capacity to local customers. So think right now, how many customers, businesses off the top of your head are going to be having high data storage, AI storage needs, besides law enforcement. We're not Silicon Valley, we're not a big city, but who are they going to fill capacity for? That's another thing to think about. You also could control and make regulations about what types of businesses are allowed to rent capacity there. It would be unusual, but there are some precedents in other industries about controlling who can come in. And man, I'm going to finish this off strong, but I really urge you to think about not just the fact that keep them out at all costs. Also think about, if we do let them in, how do we gain maximum benefit for the city, for your kids, for your grandkids? Thank you. Thank you.
Anyone else coming forward? Come forward. Yeah, if y'all want to come in, you can move that
that invitation speaker card right there that's reserving a seat. Thank you, man. Yeah, just go for it. If you wanted to come up front to sit, say you're ready to go when the next speaker's finished, that'd be great. Thank you so much.
Good morning, I'm Patricia Crane, I'm a Lakeland resident, and I'm very concerned about the data center for a reason, regarding our environment and whether or not we have the capacity to support it. I did hear the gentleman representing the data center saying that, oh, we can use repurposed water, treated water. However, according to a book by Karen Howe, which is entitled The Empire of AI, she notes that data centers cannot use nothing but fresh water. It cannot be treated water, cannot be repurposed water. It has to be fresh water. This will come directly from our aquifer or from surface water. That's the water that we live with, we need, and it is a very limited commodity. Electricity has been well covered here, I think, but in the event of a hurricane, one of the things that people have realized from the data centers that have already been established, and that there is a huge energy drain, which causes outages. We don't need outages during a hurricane, obviously. So I just want you to consider these things, and there is a wealth of information out there because of communities who have already gone forward and accepted data centers. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Ted Leffler. I live in North Lakeland. I'm a local electric customer. And I have many years of experience in the wholesale power industry. One of the things that has been mentioned is the 50 megawatt limit. I just wanted to add a little bit of information for your consideration. The wholesale to large scale solar farms, if you build them over 75 megawatts in Florida, the commission, the Public Utilities Commission, requires that the utility show that they're needed, okay, at 75 megawatts or larger. You may remember Lakeland Electric's proposal for solar is 74.8. It's not uncommon that it's very common in Florida that people are building just under 75 so that they can meet the requirements with less cost, time, and hassle. Okay, so if you make a 50 megawatt limit, it's been mentioned here by a couple of speakers, you could slide in at 49.9, and you could build multiples of those, as they have done, I believe, in the areas with multiples of 74.9 or 74.8 of solar, so that they can get their 150 megawatt desired level of solar capacity. So I want you to consider that there's precedent that the limit is a tough thing to judge. I don't know how you fix it. I'm just mentioning it that there is experience like in Florida with people playing to the limit. Another thing, I don't know what you have exposure to, but each year Lakeland Electric files with the commission a 10-year site plan. And if you haven't taken advantage of looking at the 10-year site plan, there's one that was filed in April. It has a lot of facts and figures and analyses that show how Lakeland meets its load, its relative size, and it goes for 10 years as in forecast mode. Very informative. We're very well balanced for capacity, demand, and generation capabilities. As a matter of fact, they're having to buy about 100 megawatts each year, I believe, for the summer load. Because you not only have to meet the load, you have to meet 15% reserve margin. So that is a tool that is readily available. You can just log on the website or do a Google, take your site plan, and you'll be able to connect to it to see what the plans are for Lakeland Electric for the next 10 years. That's all.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Good morning, Mayor, Commissioners. Diva Simmons, candidate for Congress, District 18, NPA, and a resident of Lakeland for 24 years. So in Lakeland and throughout our country and this region, residents have raised legitimate concerns about water consumption, increasing demands on our electric grid, and the impact of local wildlife and natural habitats. These are not issues we should ignore. They deserve careful study, transparency, and public input before more projects move forward. A moratorium is not about stopping innovation. It's about making sure innovation is responsible. It gives scientists, local governments, utility providers, environmental experts, and the community members the opportunity to establish clear national standards that protect our natural resources while supporting economic growth. We owe it to our families, our farmers, our businesses, and future generations to ensure that we have enough clean water, reliable electricity, and health ecosystems. Once these resources are strained, the cost of fixing the damage is far greater than the cost of planning wisely today. I believe we can do both technology and sustainability. We can welcome innovation while protecting the people we love and places we love. And when I get to Congress, I will write a bill or co-sponsor a bill to have a moratorium across the country. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Anyone else on the data center discussion? And this will be the last one unless anyone else comes and sits up front. Thank you so much.
Good morning. Thomas Sheffield, 4152 Westwood Circle. And let's not forget the elephant in the room. Florida is facing the worst drought in 14 years. We have an extreme water shortage, 13 inches of rainfall deficit, critically low levels in the aquifer, rivers and lakes, Lake Bonnie, Lake Beulah, Lake Wire, far below normal levels, which increases the risk of sinkholes and wildfires. This has been mentioned before. Typical hyperscale data center consumes 530,000 gallons of water per day. At its peak, up to 5 million gallons per day. And this water that is used, consumed, evaporates. It is not returned to our local water system.
Thank you, Mayor. All right, thank you all so much. I think we took copious notes. Give us, I think everybody did. Palmer, is there anything you want to say to wrap up?
No, just that, again, the schedule is another public hearing on July 20th, and then the final public hearing on August 3rd, where the vote would actually occur. So there'll be 2 more opportunities for public comment.
Great, thank you so much. We will now move to our next item on the agenda. We will now move into the resolutions of proposed 26-033 law.